Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay, okay.
Sorry. Actually, I got some other important work and I couldn't.
Okay. We'll just start in 1 minute. Okay, give me 1 minute.
Yes.
So good afternoon, Vinod. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
You are in Bangalore.
Yes, sir.
How is the weather?
It's hot.
We are lucky here in Delhi. The last couple of days ago, there was some rain and wind. So we are enjoying some extended honeymoon in terms of weather in the month of
Nice.
May, which is
Nice.
nice. Gurpreet, you are from Ludhiana, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, one day I will go to Ludhiana. I like lassi. I remember Bhatinda lassi. I remember many years ago. So I
Very
like
nice.
Ragi lassi and all the delicacies and everything.
Sir, that's good, sir. By chance, I belong to Ludhiana and that friend sitting in Bathinda.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
Pragya, how are you?
Good afternoon, sir. Very well. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Domingo, my brother, how are you?
Fine, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, great. Okay. So maybe if you are meeting Dr. Sadanand sir sometime, okay, just let me know if possible. I would like to meet you. Okay. So
Okay,
I
sir.
would like to know more about your country. I'm very interested to know more about Mozambique.
Okay, sir.
Sanjeev, how are you? Sanjeev Kumar.
Sir, I'm fine, sir. Thank you, sir.
Where are you located now?
Sir, I'm in Hyderabad, sir.
Oh, Hyderabad. Okay, I love that is one of my favorite cities. I've been there many times.
Sir.
So particularly, I like old Hyderabad and the high-tech city, and this part, the IKEA, the central in Manu, the University of Hyderabad. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, I remember Hyderabad. So I love it, and the food is excellent, and the hospitality is wonderful. It's very awesome.
Biryani, Hyderabad, sir.
Right, from the airport to the main city, we have got ring roads.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Hyderabad has changed a lot in the last 20-30 years. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Because of the ICT and IT related.
Right, exactly. I remember that. Yeah. Hyderabad used to be called like Cyberabad during Chandrababu Naidu's time. Yes, I remember that. All right. So, Dr. Sadanand, if you have the permission, can I begin? Dr. Sadanand, sir, can I start? I think I can go ahead, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Again, a good afternoon. This is the concluding class of our course NPSE 009. This course titled, as you know, is Canada, Society
Sir,
and...
Can you call me?
Yes, I have already started. I just started.
Okay.
Okay, please. Okay, please go ahead. Thank you. So this course is again, to just repeat, MPSC 009, Canada, Society and Politics. We have got 6 classes lined up for this particular course. We have completed 5 courses, and today is the 6th course. Today is the 4th of May. Just one sentence, one line for each of the units that we have covered, so that I think you can understand the continuity, the flow that and the narrative in which we taught these courses so far. Unit 1, we talk about the settler society and the staples economy, how Canada many centuries ago, more or less, with the same colonial experience like our country, India, had the experience of the British colonialism for a long time, and before that, the French colonialism. And you can see the flavor of both French colonialism and also the British colonialism. Even today, when you travel all across Canada, from the east to the west, from the north, everything. In Unit 2, we talk about the number of constitutional acts, particularly the British North America Act of 1867, the Constitutional Act of 1982, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So basically, that's the traditional history of all colonial powers. I am sure Domingo must be aware of how the colonial power, they ruled over, colonized over the large swath of African continent. So they basically, when it gets hot to stay for a prolonged time in an alien country, they try providing little bit lollipops, little bit trickle down kind of reforms here and there. Okay, like in India, I have given you many examples. In the 20th century, after the movement of Mahatma Gandhi took full speed and full momentum, they started giving out some reforms in 1906, 1935, 1919, 1935. The same way in Canada also, the Britishers, they gave the Dominion status, and little by little, it took some long time. Ultimately, Canada became an independent country, a sovereign country. But still then, there is a big difference, as I've said many times, between Canada and India, for example. Although both of them have got many similarities, federal countries, democratic societies, rule of law, etc. But still, the head of state in Canada is the king of or the queen of Great Britain or the United Kingdom. The monarchy is still the head, and he sends a representative to Ottawa, the federal capital of Canada, to act as the nominee, as an emissary on behalf of the monarch of United Kingdom. Okay, parliamentary federal institutions in Canada, executive, legislative, and judiciary. Executive parts, you have got the prime minister, you have got the parliament in Ottawa, the federal capital, and also in each of the provinces, they have got, for example, in Ontario, they have capitals in Toronto, okay, in Edmonton, in Alberta. So in all the provinces, all the 10 provinces, they have got provincial capitals. Each of them have got their powers clearly demarcated. And the prime minister and the council of ministers and the cabinet, they sit the federal level in Ottawa at the federal capital. In terms of judiciary, as I've said, they have got a layered hierarchical base, like federal court, the trial level court for federal matters, to include interprovincial matters, federal provincial disputes, intellectual property disputes, administrative reviews. They have also got federal court of appeals, hears appeals from the federal court. Supreme Court of Canada, the court of last resort, that consists of 9 judges. That's the Supreme Court. So they have got a different layers of federal court. Then we come to federal, provincial and territorial courts. Provincial courts, they handle less serious cases, both in criminal matters and civil matters. Provincial Court of Appeals, the reviews, decisions made by the provincial courts, anybody can go and review that. You can ask for a judicial review. Superior courts, they handle more serious cases, both in civil disputes as well as criminal disputes. Provincial and territorial courts of appeal hears appeal from the superior court. I think some of the key features of the Canadian judicial systems are adversarial systems. The two sides present their cases, and a judge or a jury, they decide the outcome. This jury can be 2 members, 3 members, 5 members, 7 members. They decide the ultimate case on a particular matter. Rule of law, all citizens of Canada, regardless of status, they are subject to the same legal standards. Rehabilitation and reintegration, I think this is a very important part of the Canadian judicial system. It's also there in America and many other countries. So basically, just punishing for a crime is not enough, is not the only way of redressal. They also try to rehabilitate a particular criminal or somebody and try to reintegrate the offender into the society. So that particular system is there. I remember many years ago, maybe 30, 40 years ago, when I was teaching in the state of Kentucky, in United States of America, for one particular semester, they asked me to teach a course on liberal arts about American politics, American institutions in a maximum security prison in Lexington, Kentucky. And when I went there, I was looking for a signboard, like, where is the federal prison building? Then I came across a long, big kind of palace, like a fort kind of thing, almost like a Red Fort of Delhi. And then it was written like, it is a federal correctional facilities. So then you can see the difference. Like, we call it prison, they call it correctional facilities. So the whole idea is to reform a particular criminal, reform to correct that so that they can be integrated into this mainstream societies in due course of time, of course, with a lot of restrictions, a lot of caveats, those kind of things. Canadian judicial system also deals with restorative justice, increasingly used, particularly in the case of indigenous communities. the people in the Northwest, people in Yukon territories, people in Nunavut territories, okay, offering an alternative to traditional sentencing. For example, recently I forgot the name. I think the person who was involved with this Narmada Bachao Andolan, I'm forgetting the name. She was given a probation. Okay, so not necessarily spending time in jail for some cases.
Mera Patkar, sir.
Yes, Medha Patkar. Yes, and thank you. Thanks for reminding me. So the thing is, not necessarily you spend 5 years, 7 years, 1 year. Okay, you can be given on a probation in terms of quote unquote good behavior. So I think in Indian judicial system, we are also slowly and surely, we are also adopting some of the practices that are there in the Western societies, including in USA or Canada, etc., etc. Unit 4 talks about federalism. Canada is one of the example of federalism. When India became independent in 1947 and in the 50s, we started out drafting and framing the constitution, and we had a drafting committee led by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So we also looked at a federal model in our country, and Canada was one of the templates that we tried to look at. Australia was another example. America was another example. So we tried to look into different kind of samples, different kind of templates, what kind of system fits India. So because India, we adopted the federal pattern. In fact, the Article 1 of the Constitution of India, it states, India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. Okay. So India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. So all the 29 states, okay, everybody is in part. There are certain powers designated to the union, to the center, certain powers designated to the states, to the provinces, and there are certain powers which are equally shared or allocated between the center and the states, the federal and the centers. Okay. So that is the federal systems. Okay. I think the only big difference is we went for a republic because we wanted an elective head of state. We have a head of government, which is the prime minister and the cabinet. Okay. And we also have head of state, and the head of state is the president of India. In this case, the president is elected every 5 years. Okay. Unlike in other countries, okay, certain democratic societies like United Kingdom, the king or the queen is the head of state, and she is there or he is there till he or she is alive, or he resigns, or he abdicates. Okay. Public administration in Canada, which is Unit 5, basically, I think they follow mostly the model of meritocracy. Meritocracy means, as you can understand, purely based on merit. Okay. So there is an open competitive exams. You appear for that one. Okay. Like UPSC, for example, Union Public Service Commission. You appear for that one, the prelim. You qualified the prelim exam in civil services, you go for the main exam. You qualified the main exam, then you go for the personality test for the interview. You qualified in the interview system, then you get into the service according to your rank. Okay. IAS, IFS, allied services, IPS, etc., etc. Same thing in Canada, you go for the meritocracy. But there are also certain jobs designated for under affirmative action. And what is affirmative action? It ensures equal employment opportunity for the people who are less advantaged, or who are physically disabled, or the people who are from the Aboriginal tribes. Okay. So I think for them, there are certain designated positions given there. Okay. Political Unit 6 talks about political parties, pressure groups. Just you saw 2 days ago, 3 days ago, we had this election last on 28th, and the result came out. Okay. And as I have told you, before the end of the semester, now we have got the result. Okay. Liberal Party, Conservative Party, the New Democratic Party, all kinds of political parties. Okay. In this particular election, as I have told you, in the House of Council, in the lower house, okay, which is the popular chamber, there are 343 members, and the contest took place among the 343 candidates. Out of that, the Liberal Party, the Mark Carney, who was the prime minister just 2 months ago after Justin Trudeau resigned, that party became almost like a majority on its own, 169 seats out of 343. Okay. And the Conservative Party, which was just 2 months ago, it was widely believed that they are going to come to power. They did not win. They got 144 seats. Okay. So the Liberal Party got 169. The Conservative Party got 144. In fact, the leader of the Conservative Party, Pierre Lover, who was believed to be the contender for the prime minister. He lost his own seat also. The New Democratic Party was a big loser, Jagmeet Singh's party, okay, which is very popular in particularly Alberta, particularly in British Columbia. Instead of 23, 24 seats, they got last time. This time they got only 7 seats. In fact, he himself, Jagmeet, also lost his seats. Green Party, I believe they got 1 seat, okay. The Green Party also got some seats, okay. So now there is a new government in Canada under the Prime Minister of Mark Carney. Hopefully, he will complete his new term of office for the next 5 years. So they believe in multi-party systems. They have got Conservative Party, Liberal Party, Green Party, Party Quebec, okay, New Democratic Party, all kinds of political parties. Social movement unit 7 we talked about, particularly they're very strong in environmental issues, in civil society issues, and justice issues, okay, and they have been at the very forefront of those things, okay. A lot of NGOs are there, okay. The fight for women empowerment, fight for gender equality, gender justice, etc., etc. Unit 8 talk about Aboriginal groups, particularly, as I said, they constitute only 3% of Canada's population. Canada's population is what, 30, 40, 35 million people. So 3%, okay. But in absolute number, that's a big number because they are concentrated mostly in the western sides, particularly in the northwest, in Yukon territories, etc. So they do have certain unique rights, certain distinctive rights, certain things that are given to this native Canadian Indian. They are called the Aboriginal group. The civil society I talked about, language, culture, and politics. As I've said, Canadian society is basically bilingual. You go to Ontario, you go to Toronto, you go to Ottawa, you go to Niagara Falls. Okay, everybody speaks English, so it is very English Anglophone kind of thing. You go to Quebec, you go to Montreal, it is mostly French-speaking people. Okay, francophone. And in Canadian Constitution, in Canadian job, you are applying for Canadian immigration. Okay, you need to be fluent. It helps you if you are good in both English as well as in French. Okay. Ethnic, racial issues and multiculturalism. Canada is one of the leading countries in the world, and I must give credit to these the Canadian decision makers, the people who have been at the helm in Canada for many, many years, that they do have a federal department of multiculturalism that looks after all the issues related to multiculturalism. Okay. And that is embedded in all there. So in the school curriculum, in the secondary school curriculum, primary school curriculum, in all different aspects. The racial issues are still, it is not a big issue like in America on the other side of Canada, but still there's new influx of refugees, okay, and the kind of social economic baggages they bring to Canada, that has recent times has created some schism and some level of racial issues over there. But overall, I think it's a very peaceful country comparable to US or many other countries. Regionalism and provincialism. Regionalism is basically, I think, it is not very manifested. It is not very much overt in the sense that you see in, like, for example, in India, you go to Northeast, you go to the eastern part, like Bihar, like Jharkhand, like Chhattisgarh, okay? And some commentators, they call these states like, quote unquote, the Bimaru states. Bimaru means they are economically, socially backward, comparable to some of the western states, like you go to Karnataka, south, or you go to Maharashtra, you go to Gujarat, etc., etc. In Canada, the regionalism or the regional divide is basically between the states on the western side, like British Columbia, Alberta, and the states on the eastern side, Quebec and Ontario. Quebec and Ontario are very large provinces in terms of the population, in terms of territory. That is true. But they also corner the maximum federal fund, and that creates some kind of jealousy, some kind of envy, some kind of resentment among the Western countries, Western provinces, because they feel they contribute significantly to the federal grant, to the federal fund, to the federal tax. So they should get their own fair share. So that is kind of some regional divide over there. And I think the government in Canada at the provincial, at the federal level, they are trying to address these issues and trying to bridge the divide between these western states, provinces, and the eastern provinces. Immigrants, refugees, and minorities, I've discussed that. Like you go to any big cities like Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Toronto, you see little enclaves, ethnic enclaves. Okay, like in Toronto, I've given you an example. there are certain areas where most of the Indians they live. Okay, but today, of course, you go to suburb, you go to many parts, Indian immigrants they are there. But I think there are certain pockets. You can call it like little India, little Pakistan, little Bangladesh, little Jamaica, little Guyana, little Trinidad, little China. So those things are there, okay? And you see all the shops, all the restaurants, all those things, they're all over there, okay? In Unit 14, I discussed about liberal internationalism, how after the end of World War II in 1945, Canada tried to develop its own sense of culture, its own sense of identity, okay? And trying basically to tie up with the national interest, the core national interest of Canada. It is going to be a vibrant democratic societies, and it is to be not being guided internally or externally by anybody else, and trying to formulate the rules of the game in its own way. And Canada over this last 30, 40 years has also emerged as a middle power. And I've told you in terms of the international relations power dynamics or power discourse, people talk about major power, middle power, and small power. I think Canada probably will categorize as a little bit like a middle power plus, okay? In the sense, it has got significant influence, strong economies, advanced technologies, diplomatic skills. They are very much high profile in global affairs. They act as mediators. Canada promotes cooperation and conflict resolution all across the globe, shape international events, facilitate dialogue and cooperation, diplomatic skills, multilateral engagements, strong economy. That's why they are part of the G7 and G20. You can argue that. Advanced technologies, military strength, geostrategic position, huge long territory, second largest in the world in terms of territory next to Russia. And in terms of Western Hemisphere, they're number one in terms of territories. Focus on conflict resolution, okay? Voluntarism, I think Canada has got a very good reputation in that one, okay? In Unit 15, I talk about human security agenda, the end of the Cold War, the inter-Canadian issues, underdevelopment, poverty, environment, transnational crime, pollution, drug trafficking, human trafficking, proliferations of weapons of mass destruction, ethnic divide, intrastate conflict, etc., etc. I think there are 5 top Canadian priorities for advancing human security issues, which I think are very, very important in terms of public safety, protection of civilians, conflict prevention, governance and accountability, peace supporting operations like Canada has been at the forefront of United Nations peacekeeping operations from Kosovo, East Timor, Sierra Leone, Afghanistan, and many other countries. Okay, some of the recent initiatives is they're also very active in ICC, International Criminal Court systems, in terms of developing tangible rules on anti-landmines treaty, protecting war-affected children, peace building. CIDA is a very important organization of Canada, CIDA, Canadian International Development Agency. Under that CIDA, they provide a lot of money for developmental projects, including sustainable development, etc., etc. I told you the last class about this MDG and SDG, Millennium Development Goal, the 8 goals under United Nations, and also the Sustainable Development Goals under the SDG. Okay. So basically, I think the core components of human security are being prioritized by Canada are freedom from fear, freedom from want, from shelter, from good health, freedom to live in dignity, economic security, food security, health security, environmental security, personal security, community security, political security. So I think, human security is multidimensional. So you cannot just look at one particular prison, and they do that. They also follow all the basic things that we see in terms of human rights also. So we are talking about human security, but that also goes hands in hands with all the important components of human rights as well. Universality, interdependence, indivisibility, equality, non-discrimination, no prejudice, okay? right to life, liberty, and security of people, right to freedom of freedom from slavery, right against exploitation, right to a fair trial, freedom of opinion and expression, right to education, right to freedom of religion, right to constitutional remedies, cultural educational rights. I think basically this is true for India, for Australia, for US under Bill of Rights in various forms and shapes. Okay, we here in India we call it fundamental rights. That is very much enshrined as the basic structure in our constitution. Unit 16, Canada in the international political economy, 30 million people, huge budget until 2024. It has got more than 900 billion US dollars, sixth in the world in terms of standard of living. US, Canada, they have got FTA, free trade agreement in 1989. And in the year 1994, as you all know, US, Canada, and Mexico, they signed this landmark NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement. Okay. They also have certain issues on economy. There has been upside, there has been downside, there has been recession in the 1990s. But I think overall Canadian economy is relatively, I think, reasonably in good shape. They also provide a lot of things to the global prosperity kind of things. CEDA, as I told you, they take part in good governance, health, basic education, private sector development, environmental sustainability, support to Africa. That is also, again, a big chunk of the CEDA initiatives. Again, CIDA stands for Canadian International Development Agency. Okay. Agriculture, these are patterns of economic development, vegetables, grains, dairy product, oil seeds, meat products. In terms of industry, Canada is in a leading country in aerospace, in defense, automotive, apparel, chemicals, communication, fabricated metal products, etc. Energy issues, Canada is endowed with a lot of natural resources, petroleum, natural gas, coal, renewable energy, solar biomass, small hydro projects, many things. Mining, I think that still I think it's very significant. 3.7% of Canadian gross domestic product GDP is coming from the mining, natural resources. Transport and infrastructure, road, rail, air, marine, transport, etc. I think they are very much there. I think all of these things, it helps in employment, in knowledge sector, in high technology, people, those people who want to go to Canada for higher education under STEM, science, technology, engineering, and medicine. I think Canada is preferred by many, many people over there. Okay. In short, I think Canada is very much endowed with abundant natural resources, and they make very good judicious use of that in manufacturing, in mining, communications, financial services, insurance. Remember a couple of months ago when the relationship between India and Canada was not that very good. The insurance sector, because a lot of the money has been put in Canadian stocks and mutual funds, etc. So it did get affected. Okay, but that was a temporary phase. Now I think things are going to look better, hopefully, under this new Prime Minister Mark Carney. And we do have some industries and businesses of Canada, for example, some high profile like the tea things like this Tim Hortons or the frozen food McCain's. Okay, these are all Canadian products. It did get affected during this Justin Trudeau's time, but hopefully under Carney's prime ministership, I think we'll see some movement on that one. In terms of India, the final units that we have today is Unit 17. In terms of India-Canada partnerships, before India became independent, I think India and Canada, they had a lot of historical connections, historical relationship in terms of the Gadar movement of Sohan Singh Bhakna, which was founded by Hardayal the year before World War I in 1913. We have got this Kamagata Maru incident when this ship went from Calcutta and a lot of people were not allowed to be uploaded. Then again, they were sent back. So we had got this history because those people also fought for the freedom of India, granting independence from Great Britain. Okay. So because, and our brothers over there in Canada, those people who were early immigrants to Canada, they did fight for that one, for the India's independence. Okay. we have India and Canada, they have got a common share because both the countries are part of the British Commonwealth of Nations, because there was a time when both India and Canada, they used to be part of the British Empire. Okay. Canada, as I said, is a middle power. There is a huge swath of Indian diaspora in Canada. This course, as you all know, is Master of Arts in Migration and Diaspora. This migration, it creates a whole lot of issues that needs very serious deliberations and discourse. And Indian diaspora, I think they've made a big name. Even in this particular election that took place last week, number of candidates which are of Indian origin, they have been selected, they have been elected rather. And in the last 20, 30 years, we have seen Indian immigrants, the diasporic communities, they've been very visible in both the Democratic Party, NDP, in Liberal Party, in Conservative Party. Just like in America, we see the Indian diaspora communities, they've been very articulative in political participation. That's why we see Kamala Harris becoming the vice president, Nikki Haley becoming the cabinet minister under Donald Trump during his first presidency. There are many, many people. Kash Patel, who is the FBI director now, he is from Indian origin. I can give you many, many names. I'm Tulsi Gabbard, he's practicing Hindu. He's a national security advisor. So there are many other people from the Indian diaspora who have made names in US, but they have also made a lot of visible impact in Canadian politics, Canadian society, Canadian economy, etc., etc. India-Canada partnership ranges from power to transport to roads to telecommunication, environment, sustainable development, education. I can speak a little bit of education. I remember in 2008, I believe, I got an ICCR, Indian Council for Cultural Relations. I was selected to go to Carleton University in Ottawa. I could not go at that time because I was already in Germany. So, but I did go on ICCR India chair, like a visiting professor, to Moscow, to Russia in 2018. But for Canada, I was selected for Carleton University, which is a big university in Ottawa, Canada. So we have got a Guru Nanak chair in ICCR as instituted in Canada. A number of Canadian universities, they have got good programs on South Asian studies. I got a Shastri Fellowship, which is instituted by Ministry of Foreign Affairs from Canada under the Canadian Indo-Shastri Foundations. I selected. I went in the year 2013, I believe 2010, during the Commonwealth Game when it was here. I went for a month to University of Toronto, and I taught courses on South Asia, on India, to the graduate and postgraduate students at the University of Toronto in Canada, under the Shastri Fellowship, of which I was a very proud recipient. I remember that. So many universities in Canada, you go to British Columbia, Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, they have got programs. So we have got a lot of these educational linkages between between India and Canada. Recently, we have got a new policy in Government of India called NEP 2020, New Education Policy. Under that, one of the mission and one of the objectives is internationalize these programs, okay, outside. Like, for example, Government of India, IIT Delhi, now they have got branches in Abu Dhabi, in United Arab Emirates, in Zanzibar, in Tanzania. And in the next couple of years, you will see, hopefully, Indian campuses, university campuses. Okay, maybe IGNOU will have campuses in Vancouver or in Toronto. Okay, now we are doing online, but I think you maybe see Delhi University, JNU, many other universities. Okay, so and vice versa, the other universities, they are also opening up here. So I think we'll see more and more collaborative arrangements in educational sectors between Canadian top universities. So I think it's a win-win situation in terms of teaching pedagogy, in terms of R&D, research and development, and many other new technologies, drone technology, robotic technologies, data science, artificial intelligence. I mean, the sky is the limit for that one. So IT, of course, India is acknowledged to be a superpower in information technologies. We provide that, transportation, oil, agriculture, financial services. SIDA, I talked about. There has been some irritants like the Nijar issue that created some schism between India and Canada. I think hopefully under the new Prime Minister now, under Carney, I think relationship will get much better. On the nuclear issue, I think just let me tell you one thing. Today I did some research on that one. One of the first reactors under Bhabha atomic reactor things in Trombay near Bombay, okay, we got substantial financial aid from Canada, okay, under Cyrus program, under part of the Colombo plan. And this Colombo plan provided a lot of Canadian aid to India since 1956, okay. And in 1974, as you all know, India tested the first nuclear device. At that time, Mrs. Indira Gandhi was the prime minister. We called it a PNE, peaceful nuclear explosion. And a lot of our civilian reactors, particularly those are run by plutonium. Because you know, these atomic things are done mostly uranium and plutonium. But we got a lot of these plutonium things from the Cyrus project of through the Columbia plan of Canada. Okay, so I think please remember that one. So we got a lot of those benefits from Canada over this many years. Okay, institutional mechanisms, Canadian aid programs. I told you about that, particularly under CEDA and many other specific programs. Of course, don't forget they also provide a lot of money to the UN. Okay, UNESCO, UNIDO, WHO, etc. Indirectly, we also get a lot of the programs that we get from UN, in which Canada is also an important financial contributor or a stakeholder. Okay, so please try to remember that. Okay, and Shastri Indian Canadian Institute, the mobility programs, they have got this. For example, this particular course, okay, which I'm teaching right now to you. Okay, this was popularized. Okay, and now I'm so happy that the in IGNU, Indira Gandhi National Open University, is offering a course. Okay, so this is not just course for this semester or this year. This has been going on for many years, and hopefully this will continue for many years. So I think these are the kind of courses which is generating a great sense of goodwill among those countries. Okay, we also have got regular foreign visits by the heads of state. Our prime minister goes to Canada, their prime minister president comes to us, okay, and other ministers there. Okay, we do have some issues like, for example, political stability on terms of human rights, in terms of this the Khalistan issues over there. I think, but overall, I think if you see, there is much more upward mobility we notice in terms of the India-Canada partnership. As I said, because both of them belong to the Commonwealth and they play vital roles in nourishing that. Canada and India do not have any overt political or economic dominance attitude over one another. Okay, they work in their own turf, we work in our own turfs. Okay, so both of them have got, both Canada and India have got very collaborative arrangements. Okay, both of them believe in parliamentary democracy, in the rule of law, in federal government, in power sharing, in human rights. Indian diaspora, as I said, to repeat, are extremely proactive in all aspects of Canadian society, and they contribute significantly in the improvement of Canada in all aspects, particularly in the mainstream Canadian societies. Indian companies, big companies, they have also invested a lot in power, mining, agriculture, telecommunication, oil, gas pipelines in Canada. A lot of exchange programs and academic interest between India and Canada. A lot of joint projects are being floated, including by the Shastri Institute. So I think if in future any one of you would like to go to Canada, maybe Shastri Institute is another place where you can tap into some of the resources. You can prepare a nice project which will be good. Maybe you can find a good partner or a collaborator in the other side in some universities in Canada. So maybe some people who would like to stick to academics and like to do something meaningful and tangible in terms of India-Canada collaboration in some aspect, I think you can do that. So there are always room for improvement. I think in human rights, disarmament, UN peacekeeping, I think both India and Canada, they should get very high marks, whether it is Angola, whether it is Mozambique, whether it is Sierra Leone, on many other things, in many other parts of the world. Both the countries, they play very significant roles, okay? Health issues, telecommunication issues. So I think overall, I think I will give a very high mark. I think if you ask me, I think both the things, Canada and India, they have got a robust relationship. Sometimes, you know what, I think although at a systemic level, the relationship is pretty good, sometimes there may be some miscommunication or misunderstanding, or you can say misperception at a personal level. I may like certain people, I may not like certain people. Okay, but I think in terms of the broad policy orientation, or broad policy perspective, basically, I think they work in tango, they work in conjunction with one another. I think it's a good thing that it's a win-win proposition for both the countries. Okay, so I think that's all I have to say today. So basically, I think this is a thank you. Like in Japan, I used to say arigato to all of you. Okay, for being in my class. Okay, I really enjoyed teaching all of you in my this class and also the European Union class. And last 2 months ago, in the India in World Affairs class, and also in the Africa class also. Okay. So thank you so much. Any questions, any comments, any compliments? I'm willing to listen. Okay. Anything you would like to ask me on anything. Okay. But basically, I think Canada is a lovely place. Okay. If in the future you get an opportunity, I would strongly recommend that you should go to Canada. It's a beautiful place, lovely place. I've been to Canada many times, including to Niagara Falls, which is, I think, if God gives you an opportunity, you must visit. It's beautiful. It's lovely. I've been to the American side of Niagara Falls and the Canadian side. It's on the border. Okay, but the Canadian side of Niagara Falls is really pretty. I think you should go there if you get an opportunity. Okay. So anything, any comments, any quick queries, any final thoughts on Canada, this course, anything?
Sir, thank you so much. Once I got a chance to have a visit to the Niagara Falls early in the morning, just about
Okay.
30 minutes before sunrise. I
Okay.
stayed near Niagara Falls. Really, it is very, very, very beautiful, sir. And sir,
Lovely.
sir,
Right.
we will remember you for a long time, sir. You nicely
Yes.
introduced Canada and EU.
Right. It's lovely. I think the people are basically very nice and very friendly. I think whenever I used to go to Canada, I used to very friendly crowd. I think just you mingle around. I think nobody bothers me. I don't bother nobody. So I think it's good. I think it's affordable. You can just go out. I remember during the summertime, I used to go to this apple picking, strawberry picking, pears picking. I mean, it's a very huge area. I mean, just you go 10, 20 miles outside the big cities.
So countryside is
there
very
are-
beautiful.
Yeah, and you can see a lot of, particularly the best time to visit Canada, I would recommend. Of course, this is outside the domain of my course. Okay, June, July, August. Okay, these are the
Sir.
3 top months. Okay,
Sir,
the summer in Canada is really delightful. It's something very pleasant. Okay, but September, October onwards, it starts. The weather gets cold. Okay, and November, December, Jan, Feb, March, April. These are the winter months. Excuse me. The snowfall and all those things. I mean, so those are the months in which you may feel a little bit depressed. Okay, but if you go in May, June, July, August, you love Canada, particularly this East Coast. East Coast. Okay. Anything else, Sanjeev?
Sir, thank you very much, sir. In fact, we are very
Welcome.
fortunate to have you as an academic counselor, sir. You have shared your rich experience, sir.
Thank
Sir,
you.
one small point, sir. With
Right.
the surprising defeat of Jagmeet and his NDP party losing to 7 seats, coming to 7 seats, how it would affect the India-Canada relations? Any point to ponder, sir?
I think I think I will give a two-part answer. Okay, one is a short answer and one is a long answer.
Sir.
I think short answer, it doesn't matter. Okay, that is their internal politics. Who wins, who loses, they decide. The people of Canada, they decide. Okay, that's the short answer. So it doesn't affect us one way. But in the long term, if they sort it out, okay, all the intra-party, every political parties in every country, they have got issues. Okay, sometimes there is a lot of political rhetorics, things like that. So I don't think it is going to create impact a lot in terms of India-Canada relationship, other than this Khalistan issues, etc., etc.
Yes, sir.
So today they are down. Okay, that they're not out. There are still 7 members. Okay, and it is possible the ruling party, they are short by 3 or 4 in order to get an absolute majority. So they might still need NDP.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so NDP may be a minor player, but still it is a minor stakeholder. Okay, So next election, maybe NDP will get 10 or 20 or 30. So we'll see. Okay. So,
Sir.
but they have to fill it out. Okay. Thank you. Any other question? Any comments? Anything?
Sir, thank you so much. First
Most
of all,
welcome. I really enjoy.
it was
I felt
really,
like I'm
yes.
talking to all my family members as if I'm like in a wedding. Okay. Like we are watching, going to a movie house. Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. You know. So I mean, I feel like I feel very relaxed because maybe the weather of Delhi has got some good positive effect on me. So, but I think it was really a pleasure talking to you, listening to you, because you have been so forthright in expressing your ideas and views. You know, that is the beauty of teaching, particularly liberal arts courses. There is nothing right or wrong. I'm willing to listen to your views. I can agree, I can disagree, but we can still be friends, okay? And there are always new ways of looking at it, okay? So there is no right way or the wrong way, okay? There is no specific way. And that opens up all the avenues, okay? And that's the way, you know, one of the things we learn in social science, in liberal arts, is to have a more critical discourse, okay? A more critical thinking. That is a skill that we need to teach in our, even in our kids, okay? That we need to develop this critical thinking skill. You don't just follow blindly like a parrot, whatever the teacher says, whatever the parents or something. Okay, you listen to them, be respectful, but you can also have your own views based on certain parameters, based on certain rational viewpoints. Okay, and I think that is a process of growth, and that's the process of upward mobility and upward trajectory.
Sir, I was saying that, you know, for a person like you who is so experienced in the field, and for me who is an entry level professional, I am a human rights lawyer, but then, yeah, it's interrelated, and it'll be, I think, great if there is some insight from you on the fellowships or on, other things which can help me accelerate my career, because I
Right.
think you are the best to
Okay, thank
ask
you. Thank you.
for.
Maybe you can ask Dr. Sadanand, maybe he can organize some small get together. Okay, we can have a cup of tea or coffee. IGNOU is a lovely campus, beautiful campus. I love IGNOU Maidangadi campus. Maybe someday he can organize a small get together or a mini get together. We can sit down, okay, have a cup of tea or coffee, okay, and maybe we can discuss that. But I think a lot of these things, Pragya, I think you can go into the Google, you can just check, okay, you can get a lot of this information. But if you want it in a more structured way, maybe you can request at Sadanand. Maybe sometime in the next couple of months, we can organize a small mini get together, okay, in his chamber or somewhere else, okay, within IGNOU campus. Maybe you can see IGNOU campus is a beautiful one, lovely one, okay. And maybe you can over a cup of tea or coffee, we can just discuss all about these things. But I think that's a good idea. I think there are a lot of opportunities of going to different countries. There are opportunities available. I think we need to tap into it.
Yes, sir. Maybe if that's possible through Southern, sir, I can contact you because I don't
Yes,
stay in
yes,
Delhi.
yes.
And
Please do
as of
that.
now, it's not easy for me to
Yeah.
travel. So
Okay.
that's the point. But then, yeah, I can ask sir to contact
Yes.
you, and then we
Thank
may.
you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Dr. Jyoti. Vinod, thank you very much. Enjoy Bengaluru.
Thank you,
Domingo,
sir.
Mozambique. Okay. Looking forward to your National Day. Okay.
Yes,
Gurpreet.
thank you, sir. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
meet,
I
sir.
would love to revisit
Thank you, sir.
Ludhiana. Yes. So, Dr. Sadhana, are you here? Dr. Sadanand, are you here? Maybe. Okay. All right. So thank you very much. Okay. So thanks for being here. Okay. Part of this 6 week beautiful, lovely, incredible journey. Okay. That you spent, you shared with me. Okay. So I'm really grateful and I'm really appreciative to Dr. Sadanand Sahu and also for this particular course, Masters of Arts in Diaspora and Migration and Diaspora, and this particular course and the other course that I also taught on European Union. So we look forward to see you sometimes. And again, I wish you all the best and very best in all of your personal and professional endeavors. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
कोई हमको नहीं पता कहाँ है, तो लेके गए थे, हमको नहीं पता।